See, before entering into ecosystem, we need to understand what is meant by biotic factor. If you're talking about biotic factors are many in number, one is not only the virus, second one is fungus, and third one is bacteria. So virus, fungus, bacteria, and then if you're talking about plants, animals, these are all the things are a great example for the biotic factors. If you're talking about abiotic factors, we can say plenty in number. I'll give a beautiful example for the abiotic factor is temperature. So temperature is a great example for the abiotic factor. So biotic factor is influencing the abiotic factor, and abiotic factor is influencing the biotic factor. In this way, we need to remember the concept. And second basic information, what we need to understand in this chapter number 12, ecosystem, we are going to discuss in the different geographical area what are all the different type of ecosystem are existing. So type of ecosystem, for example, if you're talking about liquid ecosystem is present, land ecosystem is present. So in this again back in the land ecosystem, if it is rich in water, okay, hydrophyte area. Okay, hydrophyte area means plant which are growing in the water area are called hydrophytic ecosystem. The plant which are growing much more in the case of zero water is called xerophytic ecosystem. The plant which are growing in the moderate water area is nothing but what mesophyte ecosystem. So one is mesophyte ecosystem, another is xerophyte ecosystem, another is hydrophyte ecosystem. So these are the different type of ecosystems which are available in the nature. So what we need to understand basically, if we're talking about the ecosystem, as I already told you, biotic factors and abiotic factors are the key features. So one is called as biotic factors, another is called abiotic factors. So are the key features, right? So in this biotic factors and abiotic factors, what we need to understand is these biotic factors are the living structures. So that we already told you. This living structure, not only plant like this, I told you. But in this one exceptional is there. I told virus is having the living property. Virus has both living property and non-living property. So virus is having both living property and non-living property. So virus is having both living property and non-living property. So this living property and non-living property of the virus is also discussed in the ecosystem. So earlier I written virus under the biotic factor. I am giving the virus under abiotic factor also. Why? Because the virus has living property if it is inside the host. Virus has non-living property if it is outside the host. So virus is having the non-living property if it is outside the host. So virus is having the non-living property if it is outside the host. This is the message we need to understand, right? So next major point, what we need to understand is in the ecosystem. Okay, local ecosystem we are saying, regional ecosystem like this we are saying. For example, GCC. So the GCC is not only having the Qatar, it is not only having the Kuwait, it is not only having the United Arab Emirates, it is having many countries. So many countries means not all countries, few Arabian countries are there in the GCC. So this GCC I can call as a regional area where the specific amount of dates are growing much more. So regional dates are growing to the maximum level. So regional dates are growing to the maximum level, and these regional dates are rich in not only iron and even in the case of calcium, etc. So now, so regional ecosystem, I am saying for the Gulf countries. Local ecosystem, I am specific only for Bahrain. I am specific only for Doha. I am specific only for Qatar. So if I'm specific either any one capital or either to any one particular country, then that is called local ecosystem. So like this, we need to classify the ecosystem into local ecosystem, regional ecosystem, and then we can classify the ecosystem as the aquatic ecosystem. What do you mean about aquatic ecosystem? Those species which are living in the case of water medium, is called aquatic ecosystem. If we're talking about aquatic ecosystem, the classic example is not only river, is not only river, is not only pond, okay, is also lake. So river, pond, lake, all these things are classic example for the aquatic ecosystem. So the river, pond, lake are the example of the freshwater ecosystem. And again, other than this, we can bring this as a marine ecosystem. Freshwater ecosystem, marine ecosystem, like this two type of ecosystem are present. So one is marine ecosystem, another is freshwater ecosystem. So in the freshwater ecosystem, very good example, not only river, pond, lake, etc. Like this we told. For marine ecosystem, not only we are saying sea, ocean, and also brackish water, brackish sea. So like this we are saying. So another is called what? Marine. Marine ecosystem means we are saying ocean is also a very good example of the marine ecosystem. Sea is also example of the marine ecosystem, right? So what we need to understand is, okay, under the ecosystem classification, freshwater ecosystem is coming, okay, marine ecosystem is coming, right? So under the marine ecosystem, not only sea, not only ocean, and even brackish water also we told the ecosystem, right? So like this different type of ecosystems are existing in the nature. Now what we need to know is basically in the ecosystem influences in the geographical area. For that, we given one example with the aquatic ecosystem and the land ecosystem. In the land ecosystem, as we already told you, some are very dry, some are partially dry, some are very wet, some are partially wet. So wet ecosystem, okay, wet ecosystem. So and then what? Dry ecosystem. So I'm a plant, I'm growing the wet area. I'm the plant, I'm growing the dry area. So wet ecosystem, dry ecosystem. One is called as wet ecosystem, another is called dry ecosystem. Like this, we are classifying the ecosystem into two important category. Okay, based on the amount of water availability. In the ecosystem structure and function, what we need to understand, as we already told, biotic factor, a non-living factor or abiotic factor is influencing the ecosystem role. Okay, ecosystem role means in the sense the ecosystem to which extent it is growing much more, to which extent the ecosystem is growing much more, to which extent the ecosystem is getting influenced by the biotic factors and abiotic factors we are going to discuss. Now, let us view the component in a more holistic light and observe the how energy flow is happening. For this energy flow, I'll give one beautiful example for this. For example, if we're talking about the plants are doing photosynthesis process. So plants are doing photosynthesis process and making the starch at the maximum level, right? So that is nothing but a energy component made by the plant to increase its biomass. So plant are making the biomass to the maximum level. So with the help of the synthesized starch, in the presence of light that even I'm calling as photosynthesis process. What we need to know is in the photosynthesis process of the plant, uh, the starch which is formed is getting transferred from plant to zooplankton. Zooplankton is a classic example for the microscopic animalculous structure. So this microscopic animalculous structure is a animal. For example, let us consider if you're talking about the worm, okay, if you're talking about the insect, so worm, insects, etc. are all the classic example, micro insect, not big insects, are all the example of the zooplankton. So these zooplanktons, phytoplanktons, are all making the energy flow. So as I already told you, again back I'm repeating, plant basically after taking the photosynthesis event, it makes starch. The starch which is formed by the plant is taken to the animals. The starch which is formed by the plant, starch which is formed by the plant, it is taken to the animals. For example, I am a herbivorous animal. My name is goat. So the goat takes the plant and then makes its biomass. The goat is taken by the tiger. Tiger eats the goat and then it makes the food. So goat is eating the plant and tiger is eating the goat. So tiger is making the biomass by goat. Goat is making the biomass by eating the plant, right? So this is one of the classic ecosystem. This is one of the classic ecosystem which explains, okay, how the starch is synthesized by the plant by using abiotic components. By using abiotic components. Abiotic components, sunlight is abiotic. So light is not a living structure, right? So sunlight is a very good example of the abiotic structure. Water is a abiotic structure. Carbon dioxide is a abiotic structure. So by using abiotic structure, plant makes starch. By using biotic structure, the goat makes its body. What do you mean by biotic structure? Plant is a biotic structure. Tiger is a biotic structure. So the goat eats a biotic plant and makes its biomass. Tiger eats the goat and makes its own biomass. This is the way you need to remember all the informations in detail. Now, what we need to understand basically in the ecosystem, the productivity and decomposition process are playing a crucial role. Before discussing the productivity and decomposition, species identification and enumeration in an ecosystem defines its composition. We know very well biotic and abiotic elements results in the unique physical feature structures for each ecosystem. If we're talking about the biotic elements, further I already had given the example. For abiotic elements also, we already given many examples. The species identification and enumeration in an ecosystem defines its composition. That means, for example, if you're talking about the if you're talking about dolphin or you take the fish, basically, if you're talking about prawns, okay, which grows in the case of seawater, which grows in the case of seawater, and also it grows in the freshwater also. There are totally two type of prawns are there. One is called as freshwater prawns, another is called as seawater prawns. So that it means what? The salty prawns or seawater prawns or freshwater prawns. So prawn can grow in the seawater also, in the case of freshwater also. So what we need to understand basically in the uh, freshwater prawns and seawater prawns are indicating the level of survival. For example, again I'm repeating, the prawns are indicating the level of survival. For example, I'm a prawn, I can live only in the case of freshwater. I'm the prawn, I can live only in the case of seawater. So if you can live in the seawater, if you can live in the freshwater, your body structure is designed accordingly. In the seawater, the oxygen concentration is less. In the freshwater, the oxygen concentration is very high. In the freshwater, oxygen concentration is very high. In the seawater, oxygen concentration is very low. So prawn takes the less oxygen also. Prawn takes the maximum oxygen also. So this is a classic example for narrating its structure and identification. Okay. So I'm the prawn, I'm living in the freshwater where the oxygen level is very high. I'm the prawn, I'm living in the seawater where the oxygen level is very less compared to freshwater, right? So we are not saying the oxygen level is completely less compared to freshwater. Okay, the seawater oxygen is less, right? So now what we need to understand is, for instance, towering trees climbs the top layer in a forest. Shrubs takes the second tier, and herb thrives the bottom. So you know very well the towering trees. We used to call it as canopies, or else we can say another way around. For example, you take coconut tree, you take the mango tree. So these are the trees which can grow to the maximum height. So one example is mango tree. Okay, another example for the shrub and the herb. Can we give an example? For example, tapioca. We can take potato. We can take potato is a classic example for the herb. Why? Because it is growing to a smaller height, right? Mango is growing as a tree. Okay, potato is growing as a herb. If we're talking about the shrub, I told tapioca. Can you give furthermore example for the shrub other than tapioca? So we can give the classic example. China rose is a very good example for the shrub. So China rose is growing as a shrub, mango is growing as a tree, potato is growing as a herb, right? So potato is growing as a herb. China rose is growing as a shrub. Mango is growing as a tree. So from this information, what we are understanding, the species of various type are growing in a different geographical area, having different type of abiotic factor influences. Abiotic factor influences. For example, if you're talking about the mango tree will grow only in the what tropical area, only in the case of tropical area. So only in the case of tropical area it grows, whereas in the case of alpine forest, in the case of alpine forest, who will be not growing, the mango tree will be not growing in the alpine forest. So mango will be not growing in the alpine forest, whereas who will be growing in the tropical forest? Okay, mango will be growing in the tropical forest. In the alpine forest, mango will not grow. Okay, like this, if you're talking about the date plants will grow very nicely in the case of tropical area, whereas where it will not grow in the case of alpine forest. So I'm a date plant. I can grow in the tropical forest, but I can't grow in the alpine forest, right? So like this, we need to understand now we are going for the productivity and then we are going for the decomposition process. Like this, two important processes are there. We'll discuss one by one in detail. Before entering into the ecosystem structure and function, so to grasp the essence of the aquatic ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, uh, let me have a example discussion about on transquill pond. This self-sustained microcosm, a beautiful illustrates the incorporate interaction present in an aquatic ecosystem. So here, how one species is getting evolved into different species, and how one species is interacting with other species, we are going to discuss in this place in the time. If we're talking about this particular phase, abiotic factors and biotic factors, we listed n number or with n number of examples. We know very well in the abiotic factors, the consumers. If you're talking about the consumers, are these, you can see the rabbit here, you can see the lion here, okay, and the retrievers food chain, right? So first we'll start with the plant. The plant takes sunlight. Plant after taking sunlight, it does maximum photosynthesis to make its biomass. The plants are eaten by the rabbit. So the rabbit is eaten by the lion, tiger, cheetah, etc. So we know very well if the animals are dying, if the animals are dying, the decomposes fungus, bacteria takes those dead animals, and this particular fungus and bacteria, which is creating the very good water nutrients if it is dying. For example, I'm a bacteria, and that too, I am an oxygen loving bacteria. If I am dying, my dead bodies are taken by the aquatic fishes. So I am the dead fungus, I am the dead bacteria. So these are all the things are the nutrients for the aquatic animals like fishes. So this is the way the nutrients are getting cycled back. The nutrients which is there in the seawater or in the fresh water is helping the plant to develop much more better than the normal by doing sufficient quantity of photosynthesis. By doing sufficient quantity of photosynthesis, so this is the thing you need to understand, right? So here, if you're understanding about the plants, right? So plant does photosynthesis process, we all know very well. So because of the photosynthesis process, so plant is making its biomass. So this biomass made by the plant doing the photosynthesis is taken by the herbivorous animals. Herbivorous animals, we given a beautiful example, not only rabbit, not only goat. Like this, we can give many cattle as an example for this particular plant eating herbivorous. This rabbit is eaten by the lion or a tiger. This rabbit is eaten by the lion or a tiger. So you know very well, this rabbit is eaten by the lion or tiger. So this lion or tiger, once it is dying, it is becoming a nutrients in the soil. So soil nutrients is increased by lion and tiger. The lion and tiger size is increased by the herbivorous animal like rabbit. The rabbit size is increased by the plant, right? So this is a classic example which we narrated for you. Now we are entering into the solar impact over the plants. So we all know very well, some plants are long day plants, some plants are short day plants. So long day plant, okay, long day plant, short day plant, like this, many varieties of plants are there depending upon the light availability. Long day plant, short day plant, and neutral plants are the two different type of plants in addition to the neutral plant. Long day plant, of course, requires maximum light. Short day plants requires less sunlight, whereas the neutral plant requires moderate light. So this is the way you're remembering the concept. So long day plant required maximum sunlight, short day plant required less sunlight, neutral plant requires moderate sunlight. So here we used to call this as photoperiodism. So you know very well photoperiodism is totally different from phototrophism. Photoperiodism is indicating the plant which is growing at the maximum sunlight, the plant which is growing in the less sunlight, which is growing the very high sunlight, the plant which is growing in the moderate sunlight, the plant which is growing in the case of less sunlight, right? So like this, we are categorizing the plant which is growing in the maximum sunlight, less sunlight, okay, very less sunlight, okay, on moderate sunlight, right? So the photoperiodism plants we discussed with you, these photoperiodism plants, some plants require long sunlight, some plants require short sunlight, some plants require moderate sunlight. Like this, I already told you. So again, back I'm repeating. One is called as what? Short light. Another is called what? Long light. Another is called what? Moderate light. So very good example of the short light is nothing but I am a strawberry, I'm a raspberry, I'm a gooseberry, I'm a blackberry. If that is the case, I require only less sunlight. Okay, strawberry. Okay, this strawberry like this, just you keep as S as an example. Okay, for the long day plant, date is example, and for the moderate plant, okay, China rose. Just only we discussed China rose is a beautiful example for the moderate plant, right? So now we are coming for the next phase explanation is so short day plant, long day plant, and the plant which require moderate sunlight. Like this, we categorized, right? So now what we need to understand is there are totally two important things are there. One is called as organic and inorganic substances. They have abiotic factors, side features with the dissolved inorganic and organic substance, nutrients rich soil at the pond bottom, right? So the abiotic side structures with the dissolved organic and inorganic nutrients, okay, are the abiotic structures. These abiotic structures also helps the plant, but not all abiotic structure is a nutrient. Temperature is not a nutrient. Okay, temperature is not a nutrient. Okay, water is a nutrient. Mineral is a nutrient. Again, back, we need to categorize this inorganic nutrients and organic nutrients. Like this, we need to categorize. So, for reading the slide, we are not here. We need to understand each and every word in detail. If you're talking about the inorganic nutrients, not only ions, not only electrolytes, okay, we are calling this all these things in a different form as minerals. So ions, electrolytes, minerals, all these are all the examples. Again, back I'm repeating, ions, electrolytes, okay, like this I told you, ions, electrolytes, and minerals are all the inorganic nutrients. Organic nutrients, if you're talking about not only carbohydrate, organic nutrients, okay, is not only a carbohydrate, is not only a lipid. So one is carbohydrate, another is lipid, another is what exactly? Protein. So what we need to understand is protein, lipid, carbohydrate. So all these three constituencies are the organic material. All these three constituencies are the inorganic material. Inorganic material. Did you got it? So one is inorganic material, another is organic material. Like this, we already told to you. These organic and inorganic nutrients are playing a crucial role in nourishing the soil to benefit the plant. So we need to understand the plants are making organic by utilizing inorganic. Plants are making organic by utilizing inorganic. So this is the message we need to understand now. Okay, plants are making organic by utilizing inorganic components. Like this, we discussed with you already, right? So now, what else we should supposed to know in the ecosystem structure? So we already discussed with you in detail. Um, we discussed already the algae, everything. So if you're talking about the algae, which is very, very important for the other animals to survive. If you're talking about the zooplanktons, so animalculous structure or microscopic animal structure, very good example we can give with protozoa. You know very well the protozoans. Protozoans. So not only protozoans, we can include porifera also. So these are the different type of species which takes the algae, right? So what else you should supposed to know um, from this particular information? Okay, here the sometimes the plant are taken by big size animal, sometimes that animals are of small size are also taking the algae. So porifera is a very, very microscopic animal. Protozoa is not an animal at all. Protozoan is not an animal at all. Okay, a very good example of the protozoa is amoeba. So always you keep a very good example of protozoa. This protozoa amoeba also taking the algae, porifera also taking the algae, and other microorganisms also can take the algae, but slowly, but not completely. Okay, so this aquatic plants algae is not only making the microbe to develop, not only the small animal to develop, not only the protozoans to develop, it also a very good food for human. Means we are using certain algae as a food. Very good example is chlorella. So chlorella is a classic example for the algae which is used by the human being, right? So like this, what we need to remember in all the levels, how the aquatic plants are used by various species. For that, we given this narration. So now what we need to understand basically in the consumers. Uh, Very good example is zooplankton. Another is free swimming creatures. So zooplankton, zooplankton and free living creatures like this are given two important things. Um, so what is a classic example of the zooplankton? Before 10 minutes back, I told to you about the zooplankton. Very good example, protozoans, porifera. These are all the very good example of zooplanktons. Free swimming creature, for this very good example, we can bring under area is the other animal phylum where we are seeing quite a lot of animals which are having the free living capability, right? Decomposers like fungus, bacteria, and flagella thrives in the pond water. So, what the decomposers will be doing while eating the um, dead animals? We used to call specifically in the lower grade while studying the various type of ecosystem, we studied the denitrifying bacteria. So denitrifying bacteria. So this denitrifying bacteria alone, we can't say like this. Many examples we can say. So one by one, I'll explain to you in detail. So ammonifying bacteria, ammonifying bacteria. Why I removed it? Why? Because it should come in a sequence. That is why what I removed the first sequence, which is kept as okay, which should be in the second position. So denitrifying bacteria. So denitrifying bacteria, ammonifying bacteria are all the classic example. So this ammonifying bacteria, denitrifying bacteria are doing the decomposition work more nicely. In the sense, I can say this only for nitrogenous waste components, not for the non-nitrogenous waste components, nitrogenous waste material. So nitrogenous waste material is very, very important for the plant to utilize. Why? Because this nitrogen is creating the protein structure, nitrogen is creating the DNA structure, but in a available form. So plant can't take the nitrogenous waste material as such. That is the reason why The nature has given, the God has given, the ammonifying, denitrifying, performing microorganism. In this category, not only bacteria is coming, even fungus also coming. So bacteria and fungus are quite a lot of efficient species which is doing the decomposition work more appropriately by decomposing the nitrogenous waste material into the small material. What do you mean about small material? Can you give one example for the small material, which is very, very important for the plant to utilize? If you're talking about ammonia, I'm writing as NH3, and ammonium, I'm writing as NH4 plus. I'm writing the NH2 as amine, which is very, very important to the plant for making it utilize more efficiently, right? So now, I think so you understood this. Give some few information on the related videos. So whenever you are having time, okay, I am so much tired, but I need to read, but my brain is not allowing. So that is why Gotouniversity portal is there to give you a classic video which is relevant to this chapter. So that gives much more idea. And second thing is examples. If you're talking about the worked examples, quite a lot of worked examples we given here for understanding. We know very well in the context of the ecosystem. Okay, why is it essential to categorize them into terrestrial and aquatic plant type, right? So again, back I'm repeating, right? So be very careful with this. Uh, in the context of the ecosystem, why it is essential to categorize them into terrestrial and aquatic type? What unique challenges and opportunity does each of this category present for the ecological study? In this question, we already had given the answer. We already had given the answer. We are not here for reading the answer, as we already told to you, right? So then what we are going to do here? Okay, in the same answer, if they're asking in the 3 mark question, we need to cut down the notes. And second thing, if you're talking about terrestrial ecosystem are more easily accessible for the research and conservation effect, but they can be fragmented by human development, leading to the habitat loss, right? This is a challenge. So, for example, let us consider this question. They're asking the 3 mark question. This question, the board, if they're asking 3 mark question, so here we need to give example. Why? Because in the mark segregation, in the sense what marking scheme which is given to the teacher to evaluate your answer sheet, they will be checking for the example whether you written the example or not for the challenges. If the example is not there, -1. And again, back, you given any explanation, did you explain or not? Okay, for the example like this, they will, okay, if you explain, then 1 mark. If you not explain, -1 mark. Like this, they will reduce it. So what we need to do is basically in this particular terrestrial ecosystem, um, we should give examples, okay, which is fragmented. Okay, can I give an example for you? You know very well the brick industry. You take brick industry or you take prawn industry. So either you take brick industry or either you take prawn industry. It converts the vegetative land or the green land into many small partitions with a lot of soil erosion. Okay, so the green land is becoming slowly a non-agricultural land because of the prawns in the brick industry, right? The same concept we can say for you if you're talking about the leather industry. Is very, very famous in India, exclusively in Tamil Nadu and Mumbai. In this leather industry, the leathers manufacturing company are releasing plenty of toxicants, which is converting the vegetative land into the non-reproductive land. In the sense, it can't reproduce or it can't give the platform for the plants to reproduce. Okay, so like this, we need to give the narration. So always the same question, challenges in terrestrial ecosystem like this, if they're asking the 3 mark question, so we need to bring this sentence, this two sentence, and then second thing is we need to give the example, and then we need to write the explanation for the examples leather industries. Leather industries dried the land. Leather industries dried the land, and the dry land is becoming uh, the dry land is becoming a non-reproductive land, not allowing the plants to reproduce, right? So like this, what depending upon the question pattern, we need to change the answer, not necessary to explain the opportunity in the challenges question, right? So if it is essay type question, we can do this question, right? So now we are coming for the next question, the worked example. How does the concept of ecosystem being a functional unit of nature helps us understanding the interconnectedness of the living organism and their environment in a deeper sense, right? So what we need to understand basically in this area, uh, the functional unit of the nature helps us to understand the interconnectedness of the living organism and the environment with the following points like this we are saying. Okay, weaving ecosystem as a functional unit highlights that are greater than the sum of their parts. That are greater than the sum of their parts. Functional unit highlights. What do you functional unit highlights? It underscores the interconnectedness of various organisms and the dependence of each other and the physical environment, right? So here the physical environment, we already told you abiotic factors are the classic example for the physical environment. Okay. And then the second thing is, if we're talking about the organism, we are calling as biotic factors. So we need to specify which among the narrated explanation um, is abiotic and abiotic factors, right? Interdependence. Ecosystems showcase how every organism, from microscopic microbes to apex predator, plays a role in maintaining a system's balance, right? Um, if you're talking about the relates on each other for source, energy, and survival, right? So basically, in this area, system balance. System balance means um, here not only the for example, in one particular geographical area, if only the saprophyte is much more, if only the saprophyte is much more, or if only the parasite is much more, okay, or if it is only a um, symbiotic microbe is much more, then it is worthless, right? So we need other beneficial microorganism as well in the soil to lead the plant's nutrient circulation. For leading the plant's nutrient circulation, again back I'm repeating, for leading the plant's nutrients circulation, for leading the plant nutrient circulation, we need the symbiotic agents, okay, saprophyte agents, parasitic agents, right? So these all things we are keeping in our mind, right? So now we are coming for the next major segment. Uh, if we're talking about sustainability, okay, here or environmental influences, if you're talking about any one of this particular area, so human action that disturbs the system can have far-reaching consequences on the health and well-being of on all the life on Earth, right? So recognizing ecosystem as a functional unit underscores the importance of maintaining their integrity. Okay. Uh, Here we know very well if ecosystem is not there, then dead bodies will be not decayed. If ecosystem is not there, then we can't get the pure water as usual from the pond uh, for many centuries. Why? Because in the pond ecosystem, the plenty of saprophyte and other saprophytic animals also playing a crucial role in maintaining the high quality water. Okay, how you are saying high quality water is maintained by the pond ecosystem? Can you give a beautiful example for that? Yes, of course. If you're talking about the in the pond ecosystem, you know very well the zooplankton is taking the phytoplankton. The phytoplanktons are not only taken by the zooplankton, it is also eaten by the fishes, it is also eaten by the prawns, it is also eaten by certain aquatic worms. So fish, prawns, worms All these things takes the phytoplankton in a huge concentration. So what happens exactly? The multiple species are taking one food phytoplanktons is a quite good example for the pond ecosystem. From this information, what we are understanding is the pond ecosystem, um, the cleaning the environment. How come the cleaning the environment is happening in this place? You know very well. The Nasdaq, if you're talking about the oscillatoria, or the quite very problematic algae which grows much more very faster and occupies the water medium. Okay, so if this population size is kept in control, if Nostack and oscillatoria population is kept in control, automatically the phytoplankton level will be normal or less. So as a result, the water oxygen concentration will be not depleted very aggressively. So always we will find the normal water oxygen concentration. So the normal oxygen content of the water is because of the very good quality cleaning of the water medium by the aquatic ecosystem, right? So this is the way you're remembering the concept in detail. Now, I think so you understood this message. Any one of you are having any doubt in this place? So please let me know. So in the Q&A section, you can put the doubts. So nobody asks a question. So I'm going to the tips of the exam. In the tips of the exam, thoroughly understand the concept of ecosystem, including the components, interaction, and energy flow. For example, if you're talking about the marine ecosystem, if you're talking about the freshwater ecosystem, how the energy flow is happening. Um, okay, for different ecosystem, the energy flow is happening in different way. See, for example, if you're talking about the lake ecosystem, you take in the lake ecosystem, let me start from algae. This algae is eaten by quite a good amount of sea snakes. Like this, we can't bring in the lake. So small snakes are eating the algae, uh, or small frog is eating the algae, and then the frog is an omnivorous animal. It takes plant as well as animal. That is why we are calling omnivore frog, which eats both plant and animal. And this small frog is eaten by the small snake, which is eaten by the big snake. So the small snake is eaten by the big snake, and the big snake is eaten by whom? So the big snake is eating the small snake. So this is the message we need to understand. So algae is eaten by the small frog is taken by small snake is taken by the big snake. So this is where the energy flow is happening. This energy flow is happening. So the energy flow can happen in other way also. For example, if you're talking about a certain mm, sea fan like echinodermata. Sea fan is a very good example of echinodermata, which also takes algae, right? So here I can say the lake algae can be taken by the small frog also, can be taken by this algae also, can be taken by the fishes also. So we can't define exactly this is the way the energy flow is happening. Okay, but we can give the number of probabilities. Then that would be a correct explanation. So, so how the algae energy flow is taken to the next higher level? The energy of the algae is taken to the next level by the by the fishes, by the frog. Frog takes energy, fishes takes energy of the algae, right? So like this, there is a reason why we told in the case of tips for the exam. This is the way you need to keep the concept in your mind in a proper circle so that what you can explain in detail during the